Alright, today I wanted to bring you guys my favorite deck from Spiritforge so far, which is going to be Purple MF. But before we start, I wanted to give you guys just a quick update on the Yasuo list. So here's the main deck and the sideboard. Still haven't changed many cards, but the deck is performing phenomenally well. In the last week since I posted the list, or the updated list, I played two skirmishes, won one, lost in the top 8 of another one, and then 2 days ago I played on a 1K in Chicago, made top 8. We all decided to split, but the 40 main cards of the deck are perfectly tweaked for the Origins meta, and the sideboard keeps changing a little bit, but I'm like 90% of the way there. So if you guys want a very cheap deck to play for the end of the Origins meta, this is definitely it. Okay, now focusing back on Purple MF. So why do we want to play Purple MF? So the card that drew me into this deck is actually not this or this, but this card down here, Spirit Will. So what does Spirit Will does is when you choose a friendly unit, you may pay one and exhaust this to draw one. So my thought process was, how can we abuse this card, or which legend can abuse it? Which is the Misfortune Legend, because we can every single turn target a unit for free. We don't have to pay any cost, and we can give it ganking. So the idea is we can have the wheels out, and every single turn we can target a unit for free, tap it, tap one mana, and draw a card. So after that, my second thought was, okay, if we go Purple Misfortune, what can we use to abuse this effect, which is friendly units may be played to open battlefields. So I wanted to use that, and then I wanted to use the Bone Shiver. So the two cards that came to mind were Lucian and Kiana. So Lucian is extremely good because, for example, we can play him directly to a battlefield, ready him, then we can give it ganking, attach the Bone Shiver, move into the battlefield, capture the other one, ramp with the rune, and then go from there. Kiana, same thing. We can play her to an open battlefield, get the draw instantly, and then if we have ways to ready her, which we have, right? We have Ride the Wind and First Mate. We can then attach equipments or whatever, and then move to the other one, conquer again, draw another card, and go from there. So that's the main idea of the deck, is essentially having these powerful units that can let us do multiple conquers per turn, and just good purple cards, good movement, and then having equipments to make our creatures big enough. So then going through the rest of the deck, we have First Mate. The reason why First Mate is so good here is because we have the ganking ability. So if we conquer one of the battlefields, we can always just ready it, give it ganking, and then conquer the other one as well. So that's why we run three of them. Then we have Ruin Runner. So this card, I'm not sure if I should be playing one or two, but it's just a really, really strong card. It cannot be targeted by spells or abilities. Essentially super difficult for opponents to get over. Usually the way that they kill this card is just with pure might, but now we have Punch First and we have a ton of equipment or gears. So a lot of the times it's hard for our opponents to get over this, and then this card can single-handedly just win you games. Then we have Lucian and Kiana, which we already talked about, are the heart and soul of this deck. Then we have Tide Turner. I just wanted a 2-drop that was more versatile and had more utility other than just playing a 2-drop for the sake of playing something early. So Tide Turner fits that bill. It just gives us more mobility, makes it tricky for our opponents to play around us. So overall, it's a great card. It's not amazing. I'm not 100% sure if I want to keep it, but I like it so far. Then Sneaky Deckhand is another card that I'm still kind of iffy about. It's really good when we're going first with Obelisk, meaning that we can play her in turn 1, because we can play her directly to a battlefield. Then our opponent usually is not going to be able to kill it unless they are very specific decks, red or stuff like that. And then in our other turn, she holds, and then we give her ganking, and she conquers again. So this card going first can give you 3 points in essentially 2 turns, which is insane. Then we have Punch First. This card is just amazing. It's way too strong. And in this deck, spells that give you plus might actually go a long way, since we can usually conquer two battlefields at the same time, or not at the same time, in sequence. For example, if we do Punch First to the Lucian, he's gonna have 8 might, and we can use that 8 might to conquer both battlefields, since we can conquer up, he readies, give it ganking, go sideways, conquers again. So just plus might abilities are super strong in this deck. That's why, a little bit of spoiler, we play one Promise Strength, because a lot of the times I wanted more copies of Punch First, so I decided to add this. Then we have 2 copies of Ride the Wind. Ride the Wind, you know, best purple card in my opinion. My favorite card by far. It's almost like another First Mate. I used to have 3 copies. Sometimes it felt a little clunky. I could see myself going back to 3, but 2 is where I landed so far. Stack deck just help us find what we need when we need it. Then we have 2 Fighter Flights, just very versatile card, gives us movement, again, gives us that tricky, we can hide card so your opponent doesn't know what it is, we can protect our units with it, it's just a really, really good card overall. Then I'm playing 1 Cult Shot. I'm playing 1 for those occasions when you're in the late game and then you just need to dig for answers. Uh, we don't, we generate power, but we consume a lot of power, so we cannot just play a ton of copies of it. That's why I just have 1. I could see myself cutting this for another copy of another card, but 1 has been working fine for now. Then we have 2 Sabotage main deck. So the reason why I wanted to add Sabotage is because when we play orange purple, we don't have a ton of reactions that we can do. Of course, we still have some like Fight or Flight, and you know, we can do actions, but it's very hard once we set our units in the battlefield to defend them, right? Because we don't know what our opponent is going to do, and we don't have a ton of ways to defend them in our opponent's turn. So this first takes whatever actions or reactions they might have, and also gives us information, which is the most important part. This essentially tells us how we need to play and what we need to play around. Then we have 1 Hard Bargain, just a counterspell, really good. I see myself going to 2. Right now 1 is fine, but I could definitely see myself going to 2. And then Primal Strength, which I explained earlier. Again, this one I'm just testing things out. It might be a second Hard Bargain in the future, but that's where we are. Then Gears, we play Darn's Blade. So again, like I said, plus might in this deck goes a really long way. That's why we play so many Gears. So Darn's Blade is just a good equipment. It's a 2 cost card, which means we can play it in first turn, and then we can equip it with Lucian. That's why I like it. Then we have Bone Shiver, super good when you can conquer multiple times per turn. This was the other card that I wanted to build a deck around. So really good. Then we have 1 Edge of Night. I just wanted 1 more equipment. This one is interesting. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's kind of awful. The good thing is it's 3, which means we can play going second sometimes if we really have to. If not, we can hide it and use it as a combat trick. And then the Spirit Will, which we mentioned at the beginning. For battlefields at the moment, I have Back Alley Bar for going first. I just like Back Alley Bar when we can use it and our opponents can't, and in this deck is really easy to use, since we can go in, conquer, for example with Lucian, or play directly to the battlefield with the MF, and then when we move from that battlefield to the other one with the ganking, we get the +1. So it's just really good there. The Paper Tree essentially is a good going second battlefield, because your opponent is probably going to have to conquer it, so it kind of like ramps you to help you catch up. And then Obelisk of Power when we know we're going first, since we have a ton of 3 mana plays, which is kind of like the same idea that I did for the Yasuo deck. So far this card has worked great. I could try different battlefields, but I'm happy with the battlefields for now. And then the Sideboard is just work in progress, but pretty standard stuff. Unyielding Spirit for decks that do a lot of damage. Same thing with Ruin Runner. If they have to target your units, you play this, they essentially insta-lose because they cannot get rid of this card. Gust for decks that are super aggro. Action for other decks that play a lot of Gears. Then we have Switcheroo. This card I've been testing. I could even see myself putting it in the main. It's really good for against decks that have ginormous units. And again, it's the same thing that we can use the might for multiple attacks in each turn. So for example, if they have a huge unit in a battlefield, you can go in, play the switcheroo, get the might, ready the illusion, or ready whatever unit you capture with the first mate or the ride the wind, and then we can use that same might to capture the other battlefield. So really good. And then last two cannon barrages. This I got it from the Chinese regional. Essentially, you can use this card before the overzealous fan can sack itself, and you essentially cancel the combat. They cannot push you back, and then you force the combat. I also wanted to show some of the cards that I tried, which are on the left. I tried Flash, Extrinker, Overzealous Fans, and the full list. Some of them were okay, some of them were not. I do want to try Yone a little bit more, but overall, the cards felt good at times, but not amazing. That's why I ended up cutting them. On the right, we have the cards that I want to try. Bullet Time seems good since it's an out, a one-off, you know, in case of emergency we can use it. Warmox Confront I really like because you can ready your units immediately and do the whole conquering multiple battlefields on the same turn. Treasure Hunter just gives us treasures, pretty good. But I don't know, I feel like having just one might for this deck is not good enough. Windsinger is just good against aggro. Challenge is great to target units at base. Rebuke just an amazing card, and then Fizz in case we want to reuse our spells. So I'll probably start testing some of those cards, but for now that's how the list looks. So that's the deck. Now I'll show a gameplay of the deck. I think I have one match. I might just show one. It was a best of three. It was 3 games. I might just show one of the games to keep it short. But if you guys want to see the rest or see more gameplay of the deck, let me know. Just like, subscribe, all the good things. Comment if you guys want to see more, or if you guys just want to see the next Yasuo list. I haven't started working on that, but that's definitely one of the things that I want to work on. So yeah, hope you guys like it. Okay, now we're gonna see some gameplay from the deck. Here we start with our going first battlefield, and our opponent rolls a 12. And I was reading his battlefield, I had never seen it. We roll a 3, so he's gonna go first. So we know we're gonna have 3 runes, so we like the Bone Shiver, Thorn's Blade, it's okay, and we keep the stack deck. So our opponent starts with Thorn's Blade. Here I was trying to think if I should start with the Bone Shiver or the first mate. We decided to go with the first mate because next turn I could attach the Bone Shiver and actually attack the same turn. Which is what I'm gonna do, since we can essentially attach for free, since the Bone Shiver costs 1 and we're gonna get it back as soon as we capture. Here I was debating if I should use the battlefield to draw one, but I wanted to protect my first mate just in case, since I'm light on units and I have the punch first in hand. So our opponent comes in and attacks, which was kind of like a risky play by me. We play the punch first and it actually goes through, which is nice. And our opponent just plays solution, captures, goes back. I'm not very used to playing with Fury, so I definitely make some misplays throughout this game. So you know I'm learning how to play the color, so it's been super fun. And here we see finally the card that I wanted to build a deck around, and we can see immediately we start our engine, and we can see how the Ganking plus the Bone Shiver gives us multiple runes every single turn. Here's funny, our opponent notices the little engine of drawing cards, which is it's pretty cool. I have to agree. So now here we know that our first mate is probably gonna die, but he has done his job, right? He got us 3 points, ramped us a full rune, so pretty good so far. Here our opponents just sends in Master Yi with the first mate, so we trade with his first mate. He captures, so time points. And now we're gonna have to develop our board for next turn. So here I'm debating what to do because I could do Purple Misfortune, for example, capture, then bring it back with the first mate. But I think, again, I'm not the best at playing Fury, but I think I need to develop here so next turn I can go and attack. So here I want to know what I'm gonna have to what I'm gonna have to play around. Unfortunately, we miss, but now we know that he doesn't have any reactions or anything like that in his hand. So we just develop, play the Rune Runner, give it ganking, draw a card for free, or I guess for 1 mana, and pass to set up for next turn. Here our opponent gets his 2 points, captures, draws a card with the battlefield, and develops his board. So now here we're gonna show again how the Bone Shiver with the ganking and getting the units ready is just so good. So we capture, ramp 1, which pays by itself, give it ganking, draw 1 with the Spirit Will, ready the unit, capture again, get another rune, pay the 1 for the battlefield, and draw another one. So here I just wanted to reinforce the 1 battlefield, and since we have the Tide Turner, we can hide it on the other battlefield, we leave open the Primal Strength, and we can always just make it tricky for our opponent to conquer. So that's why I like Tide Turner so much, it just makes it harder for your opponent to play. Here our opponent is just making their area huge. Since her ability gives her +1 every time that she gets targeted, those equipments instead of giving +2 essentially give +3. And he sends everything in. So here I was thinking, and since Tide Turner counts as moving, when he moves to the battlefield, he actually becomes a 3, which means we can take down Delusion. Which ends up being important since we can take 3 might off the battlefield. Our opponent uses the battlefield, draws a card. Here I just skipped a little, but he forgot the Bone Shiver, so he gets a +1 rune from that. Plays the Guardian, attaches to Aurelia, and leaves 2 runes up. So now we go to 6. We're gonna give ganking to the Rune Runner to see what we can draw. And surprises another punch first, which essentially gives us the guarantee that we can win. So we go in with the Primal Strength, which can be defied, but our opponent doesn't have it. And that puts us to 17, which should be enough to kill the other battlefield. Worst case, we have Ride the Wind, we could go back to the back alley and then move again to get the other +1, or we can just punch first. We move 17, our opponent doesn't have anything, and we conquer to 7, and our opponent essentially concedes after that. We can also draw a card from the battlefield. We can attach the Dorans, make her huge. And now with that, we have the punch first, the Ride the Wind, and we just need to hold one of the 2. We can just move to the one that he doesn't attack, and we're good. So yeah, if you guys want to see the rest of this series, because we played actually all 3 matches, just let me know. And yeah, thank you guys.